Tokyo, the city that never really sleeps. It rests beneath neon halos and the steady hum of vending machines, breathing quietly between the last train and the first light. But even then, some places refuse to close their eyes. Golden Gai is one of those places. Tucked away in Shinjuku, this maze of narrow alleys is famous for its tiny bars, many barely big enough to hold 6 people. Tourists flock here for the charm, but the locals know there's more beneath the surface. Down one of these alleys is a ramen shop. Small, humble, and easy to miss. But people talk about it. The story goes around that this place is haunted. It all started when a new owner took over. First he heard bowls clatter after closing. Then he saw a figure in the kitchen window, a woman with long hair, standing still, looking him dead in the eyes, and poof, she was gone. Customers have felt it too. A sudden chill. A weird shadow that doesn't move. One man swears a hand touched the counter beside him, when no one else was there. The shop was built on the remains of a house. The chef's wife died there, obsessed with the recipe, unwilling to let go. Now, the owner leaves a bowl out at night. A quiet offering. Just in case. Welcome to the Glimp. Maybe it is because of the past that in this ramen shop, stories are part of the atmosphere. They rise with the steam, passed between regulars, talked about over empty bowls when the night's gone quiet. Not all of the stories are believable, and not all of them are meant to be. But one story comes up more than once, about something strange that happens just a few blocks from here, deep inside Shinjuku Station. The details shift depending on who's telling it. But most versions agree on a few things: it's always late. It arrives on a line that no longer runs. And no one ever sees it coming. They call it the ghost train. Some say a pale woman waits on the platform, standing still, and dressed like she stepped out of another decade. She doesn't move, or doesn't speak. It is said she just waits for someone to follow. A former station employee, long retired, once claimed he saw her every week, for nearly a year. Same platform. Same hour. And every time he approached, she vanished. A few years ago, a night worker disappeared during his shift. Last seen heading toward one of the lower platforms. The surveillance footage glitched. All they recovered was a voicemail, static, and something that sounded like breathing. No one ever found him. Now, late at night, the station still runs. But some staff avoid that side of the tracks. And a few commuters say they've felt it, a pressure in the air, a presence that doesn't belong. Most people brush it off. Tokyo's full of strange corners. But in places like this, stories have a way of becoming part of the structure. You hear them. You repeat them. And eventually, you start to wonder which ones are still unfolding. In Tokyo, a property's past can haunt it just as much as any ghost story. These, Jiko Bukken, or stigmatized properties, carry a heavy history, a death by suicide, a violent crime, or sometimes just a mysterious disappearance. Because of these events, the homes become difficult to sell or rent. In many cases, landlords and real estate agents must disclose these tragedies to potential tenants, a rare glimpse into the darker side of Japan's real estate market. But the stigma goes beyond paperwork. Locals often believe these places are haunted by lingering spirits, restless souls who cannot move on, trapped by their final moments. One property on oshimaland.com, a site mapping thousands of these places across Tokyo, was reportedly abandoned after tenants fled, terrified by nightly footsteps pacing the hallways. In another case, a building known as the Crying Mansion earned its name after neighbors reported hearing muffled sobbing echo through the walls for months, but no source was ever found. These stories blend the psychological and the supernatural, creating a unique urban folklore deeply rooted in Tokyo's rapid modernization. It's a reminder that even in the most bustling, high-tech cities, the shadows of the past can stretch long and far. To understand why some places in Tokyo feel heavy with unease, you have to look deeper, beyond the city's neon lights and endless skyscrapers. Beneath Tokyo's vibrant streets are hidden histories, sites stained with punishment, pain, and death. Two of the most infamous are Suzugamori and Kozukappara, execution grounds where thousands met their fate during the Edo period. Between the 17th and 19th centuries, it's estimated that over 100,000 people were executed here, criminals, rebels, and those condemned by the shogunate. Locals long believed that the earth here absorbed the sorrow and anger of those who died violently, curses that linger even centuries later. Even today, people report strange sounds in the wind, sudden chills, and shadowy figures near these sites. Back in the quiet ramen shop, the steam from the bowls swirls thick in the dim light. As customers come and go, another story comes up, one whispered over warm broth and shared memories. It's a story older than the city itself, yet somehow alive in Tokyo's streets today. A tale of betrayal, murder, and a ghost whose sorrow never fades. They call her Oiwa. Her story begins over 200 years ago, in Edo, the city that would become modern Tokyo. Oiwa was a young woman betrayed by the man she loved, Tamiya Iman, a samurai consumed by greed and jealousy. Poisoned, disfigured, and left to die, her final moments were so extremely sorrowful, that it is said that she refused to rest. From her pain grew a ghost story that would haunt Japan for centuries, Yotsuya Kaden. Written as a kabuki play in 1825, it has been adapted for film over 30 times, each retelling fueling the legend of Oiwa's vengeful spirit. But the story doesn't end on stage. Actors who have played Oiwa speak of strange accidents, whispers backstage, and an unshakable feeling of being watched. Some say the role itself is cursed, a ghostly presence clinging to the tale of betrayal and revenge. Even today, Tokyo's theaters and film sets hold an uneasy respect for Oiwa's restless spirit. Her story is a reminder that in Tokyo, the past never fully fades, it lingers, waiting in the shadows, ready to rise again. Away from the main streets, Tokyo offers a different kind of accommodation, compact, efficient, and famously claustrophobic. Capsule hotels were born from necessity, a solution for the city's late-night commuters and travelers. Within the world of these cramped capsules, a lot of unsettling tales have taken root. Several guests have reported sudden chills in the middle of the night, shadows moving just beyond the edge of sight, and the eerie sensation that people in other capsules were whispering to them through the thin walls, even when no one was there. One traveler described their stay as particularly disturbing. It felt like a coffin, they wrote. The walls were too close, the air too still. Around 2 a.m., I started hearing odd, rhythmic noises, tapping, then what sounded like whispering. But when I slid the curtain open, the hallway was empty. The lights buzzed, but everything else was still. Too still. Even staff aren't immune to the strange atmosphere. A night receptionist once confided to a reporter. Sometimes, when the hotel is quiet and nearly empty, I hear footsteps pacing the halls. But when I get up to check, there's never anyone there. It's like the building remembers who stayed long ago. Back in the ramen shop, the stories keep flowing, like steam rising from a fresh bowl. Someone leans in, voice dropping as if the shadows might listen. There's a place not far from here, he says, where the darkness feels thicker, and the past is hard to leave behind. They speak of the Sendagaya tunnel, a narrow, forgotten passage beneath Tokyo's surface, where footsteps echo, long after the last train has gone. The Sendagaya tunnel is more than just a forgotten railway corridor, it's a place where time seems to fold in on itself. Built in the early 20th century, the tunnel once carried passengers and freight under Tokyo. Today, trains no longer run here, but the stories of the past are still around. Locals will warn you against wandering near the tunnel after dark. They say you can hear stuff, see weird flickering lights, and sometimes feel an oppressive weight, pressing down. But what makes Sendagaya especially chilling isn't just the tunnel itself, it's what lies nearby. The Victor Studio, an old recording studio with a storied past, stands just a few blocks away. Once a hub for music legends and artists, it's now a place rumored to be haunted by more than just memories. Musicians who worked late into the night tell tales of ghostly melodies drifting through empty halls, instruments tuning themselves, and glimpses of shadowy figures in the corners of their eyes. In 1979, singer Hiromi Iwasaki recorded the single Mangekyo in this studio. At around the 4-minute mark of the song, you can hear what sounds like a man groaning. It's a mystery how it ended up on the track. People speculate that they could be the spirits of forgotten artists, or perhaps the lingering sadness of those who once poured their souls into the music here. In the heart of Tokyo's modern chaos, there is an ancient spirit that is still roaming. Taro, the vengeful samurai, whose story has seeped into the city's corners. Though Taro's origins trace back to Japan's feudal past, his presence is felt deeply in Tokyo's urban folklore. Sites across the city, from quiet temples tucked between skyscrapers to shadowy alleyways, are said to be touched by his restless spirit. Taro embodies more than just fear, he represents a powerful Tokyo theme, the collision of history and modernity. As the city races forward, Taro's story reminds the people of the heavy past. He symbolizes honor betrayed, and debts unpaid, themes that resonate in a city where tradition and progress constantly intertwine. His influence lives on in Tokyo's pop culture too. From horror manga set in Shinjuku's backstreets, to eerie scenes in urban legends shared in izakayas. Taro remains a figure that bridges old samurai tales and contemporary ghost stories. Video games and films set in Tokyo often invoke his image. The perfect ghost caught between eras, stalking the city that never forgets. In Tokyo, where history layers beneath every concrete block and every flicker of neon, Taro is more than a ghost story, he is a spirit woven into the city's very fabric. A reminder that even in the brightest, busiest metropolis, the past lingers. As Tokyo's night deepens, the city lights become brighter, towers of glass and steel start to stand out against the dark sky. Among them, Sunshine 60 rises proudly in Ikebukuro, once the tallest skyscraper in Asia, a symbol of Japan's rapid growth and futuristic ambition. But beneath its surface, Sunshine 60 carries a different kind of energy, a lingering presence from the city's shadowed past. Built on the site of a former graveyard, some say the souls never quite left. Workers in the building have reported unexplained cold drafts sweeping through the upper floors, even on the hottest days. One office worker shared. Sometimes, when everyone else has gone home, I hear footsteps pacing just outside my door. I check, but no one's there. On the highest floors, there's a chill that no air conditioner can explain. A security guard recalled. Once, during a night shift, I saw a shadow moving past the windows. It was like a figure watching me from outside, but there's no balcony or ledge up there. When I called for backup, the cameras showed nothing. Legend holds that the restless spirits of those long buried beneath the site have etched their own mark on the tower. Sunshine 60's haunted reputation has inspired countless tales, making it a modern symbol of the city's tangled relationship with memory, progress, and the unseen. It's a place where Tokyo's ghosts don't hide in shadows or dark alleys, they dwell above the skyline, watching the city pulse beneath them. And as the night grows deeper, those whispers grow louder. Back in the quiet ramen shop, the steam still rises from the last bowls of the night. The chatter has faded, but the stories linger, like the scent of broth in the air, or the soft hum of a vending machine just outside, waiting for the next customer. As dawn begins to wash over Tokyo, the neon lights dim, and the city slowly shifts into the morning. The vending machines fall silent, the early morning salarymen shuffle towards subway entrances, clutching their briefcases, while shopkeepers lift their shutters, and prepare for the day ahead. But the tales don't vanish. They're woven into the fabric of the city, in the alleys, the tunnels, the skyscrapers, and the quiet rooms where forgotten ghosts wait. Tokyo never truly sleeps. It dozes, breathes, and remembers. And maybe that's why its stories stay alive, passed quietly, between strangers over bowls of ramen. I want to thank the subscribers of this channel. If you haven't yet, please consider doing so if you want more of these kind of videos. Also, I want to give a special thanks to our first members. If you have any suggestions on which places ghost stories I should uncover next, please let me know. Until next time.